Jamie Hamilton, how are you?
I'm doing well, Troy. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. I have seen you out on the field
Okay.
for years and years and
Was
years.
I doing anything or just walking around?
Well, you have your little clipboard
yeah, there you
with
go.
all your notes
Yeah,
and stuff.
There you go. Yeah,
And-
that's part of the battle.
Yep. Obviously, the main topic that we're going to talk about is JUCO. And especially since it's right around the corner, and I'm super excited. Give us a little background on your baseball career.
Well, I'm glad we don't have much time because it's very, very short. No, actually, I was born in Grand Junction, Colorado.
Okay.
And moved over to Denver. Grew up in Arvada.
Okay.
Ended up going to Regis High School and didn't have any ideas of what to do in college. Had a baseball offer at Trinidad State and had some other chances in Kansas. Long and short of it is Mesa Junior College, and my mom's family was here, and they ended up, that's the first time I heard the name Sam Supplesio and Sam Supplesio Field.
Mm-hmm.
My uncle reached out to him, who reached out to then Coach Bus Bergman and Dan McKendrick, the assistant coach, and came over here to get my degree as a junior college in law enforcement because I thought that's what I was going to be doing. That's what intrigued me. And my freshman year, playing here, it turned to a 4-year institution. So
while you were at Mesa?
While I was at Mesa.
That's really cool.
So I had the opportunity to go on to CSU and the University of Utah with baseball offers. But I said, well, I started as a freshman. Why wouldn't I stay at Mesa?
Yeah.
And had the opportunity, because of Sam Supplesio, to sign a professional contract and played for the California Angels system.
Nice.
And played 78, 79, 80, and 81, part of 81. That was a strike year. And I got moved to Holyoke, Massachusetts, and I was just married, and I said, nah, I'm not going to go back there, especially at that time. $950 a month was the salary, and the only furnished apartment we could find was $1,100. So it didn't seem to work out from that aspect.
Yep.
Came back here. Got my teaching degree and coached at Mesa for 4 years. Sam said, once you get going, offer me a chance. If you can't hit, maybe you can sell insurance. So I started selling insurance, coaching at Mesa, got my teaching degree, then decided that I really didn't want to teach, wanted to coach. Sam got me with the Milwaukee Brewers as an instructor, an infield instructor for 6 years. And then everybody got fired, and I moved over to the Cubs for 2 years. And then JUCO started blowing and going, and coaching my son in Little League. And Sam was right there and mentored me. And then just great traditions, memories, watching our kids be shaggers and ball boys and ball girls out there. It's just a great memory of what Grand Junction's all about.
Absolutely. I mean, JUCO has become one of the greatest summer pastimes in Grand Junction.
Yeah, and it's phenomenal that way. It kicks off the season, so to speak, the summer.
Yep.
We have now, I was told, 5th generation people coming to ball games now, and that's great. And trying to sit in the same seats, even though
it's super
even
important.
Though you're kind of cool about that too. You understand that. And then we had a little bit of hiccup with the crane falling down on our stadium during the remodel back in January, but people again rallied around, knew that this is a gem in Western Colorado, and now being recognized on the national level as well. And as to that point, 80 volunteers plus countless of their hosts from the Kiwanis, the Lions, Rotary, doing those type. But 80 volunteers, nobody cares who gets the credit, but they have one goal in mind, is to create the best memories and fan experience for the student athletes and visiting people, and then obviously our community.
How was it, playing for the Angels?
Well, I made some really good friends, and a number of them that went on to have big league careers and all-stars and those type of things, which I still talk to them.
That's
Christmas time, and cards to see their kids growing up and graduating from college and doing those type of things. But probably my closest was a gentleman by the name of Tom Bernansky, who ended up making the big leagues with the Minnesota Twins, but played for the Cardinals, the Red Sox, has a World Series ring, was an All-Star, and has 4 kids out in San Diego, and we still talk about what's going on. And he's actually a coach at a Division III school out in the San Diego area, and so he's still giving back to the game, and it's good. He actually has a player that he coached last year that's going to be playing for the GJ Rockies this summer. Don't remember his name right off the top of my head, but again, just connections, baseball connections all over the country, and it's just like one of the guys that's coming in this year from Florida, University of Central Florida, was here 24 years ago, and it feels like just yesterday I watched him come in here with his teams back-to-back years in '98 and '99, and now it's been 24 years since he's been back. He was here. He's in the Hall of Fame right now, so he was here a couple of years ago for that. But just, it's a family. We try to do that with the community, as I'm sure you can attest with the memories that you have, and seeing people you may have not seen for a whole year in the stands.
That's exactly what it is. You have like a family reunion.
Yes, it's exactly what it is. And what's really cool about it is, you have Sanjak has what they call the Gator haters, but they also have you're one of them. But they also have loyal fans.
They do.
Sean O'Toole, who's been a great assistance to us on the committee, loves the Gators, and he takes them up on the Mesa on their off days, takes them picnics, and just makes sure they have a great time. And then they get involved with the Challenger Baseball League and our Little League tournament, or a clinic that we have on that Thursday as well. It's just, again, I'm sorry to say family, but that's what it is.
It really is. Yeah. It really is. How did you make that transition into where you're at now with the JUCO World Series and just kind of directing that?
Well, part of it, when Sam offered me the chance, once I got out of coaching and needed to really work on my insurance career, if I was going to make that a career, he asked me to, a gentleman at the time was stepping down as a co-tournament director, and asked me to step into that place. And I worked closely with Walt Bergman, who is the son of Coach Bergman, and been close. He coached my son at Grand Junction High when they won the state championship and beat in 2010, I believe it was, or in 2005, and beat Cherry Creek of all schools. And I thought it was phenomenal. At the state playoff game, they had 35 students, athletes on the field dressed, and we had 14, and it's the big group, Class A or Class 5A, and Junction High won that tournament. And so stayed close to Walt. He coached there. Again, directed all the tournament play, and then started gravitating as Sam was stepping back and retiring from the insurance business, those type of things. Then I had the opportunity to buy the business from him, and then turned it over to chairmanship. And then you're just sponsorship, ticket sales, volunteers, uniforms, shirts. It's all part of the package, just like running a minor league event. But we got good volunteers that take their little lane and run with it, knowing what the outcome's supposed to be, and it works flawlessly.
Yeah, you really got to be thankful for the volunteers, because
no question.
They are the ones that really make it
and
happen.
like I said, creating memories for the student athletes. As I've said this before, only one team wins the national title any one year. But when I have been fortunate enough to travel around to coaches' conventions and then have a player or a player coach come to me and said, "Hey, is Larry Feather still around? He was with the Grand Junction Lions Club, and he took me down to Gene Taylor's to get a pitching toe on a Sunday morning, and they weren't even open on Sundays." But those little memories, or the guys from Florida that's seeing snow for the first time in their lives as 18-year-olds, those are the memories they have.
Yeah.
They got their butts kicked on the field, but that didn't matter. They were in Grand Junction, and then going from maybe playing in front of maybe 100 people, and then on fireworks night have close to 10,000 people in the stands. You just can't replicate that.
Yeah, I've been going to JUCO since I was like 6, like real young, and man, it's just what I do. That's what I do every single summer. It's been interesting to grow up, when you're really young and you're looking up to these players, and then you go through this weird transition where all of a sudden you're like, whoa, these guys are my age. And now these baseball players are kids compared to where I'm at today in my age.
That's exactly right.
So it's been really interesting from my perspective to kind of see, wow, I have been to JUCO a lot.
Well, I hear that from coaches all the time. The main reason they still stay in coaching after 30, 35 years is because the kids are the same age. They just get older. So
Yeah.
it's neat to look at it at a different perspective, just how you explained it.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, getting hats or autographs and all this stuff, and now seeing them as peers, and now saying, okay, how can we help them experience it? I mean,
well, you're rooting for them on a whole different
Yes.
level the older you get.
Just it's really I don't know how to. I'd like to bottle it up and sell it, and give it to, without being political, give it to the rest of our leadership around the country and say, hey, this is what's good about
That's right.
America and small town America, and
Yeah.
and then obviously the facilities that have been made because of the contributions of JUCO and then the collaborative partners. I mean, you very rarely, I can say almost for assuredly, that find a facility, both the football and baseball side, that a nonprofit has spearheaded remodels, whether it was in kind or paying dollars like we're doing right now, getting people to come up, that has 4 high schools using football and baseball, has a nationally renowned baseball team and
Yes.
football in the RMAC using that facility, and they have a sense of ownership with it.
Yep.
And then the community can come to a JUCO game, maybe not go to the game, but use the track to get their exercise in.
Oh, yeah.
We all own it, and it's
That's true.
fine, and it's phenomenal when you think of the dollars involved. The tower that you talked about 10 years ago, that was $8.3 million, no tax dollars. It
Right.
was $300,000 from the committee based on ticket sales and sponsorship, some grants that the city helped organize, and now we leverage that with an extension of 25 years because the interest rate's going down, refinance that, and now $11 million remodel that you have over there now, both on football and baseball side, and got it ready for graduation. I mean, it's phenomenal.
You guys snuck in.
Yeah. Well, let me just tell you, this would be my 38th year on the committee, and as I jokingly said in one of our meetings, Bruce Hill and I have been working this thing since we were together, and we've been involved with a lot of remodels. And the first year we turned it over to the new young organization, Darren Coltonary, who's actually my godson, won the state championship at Central High School when he was in high school.
I went to school.
There you go.
Yep.
So, and he's learning the ropes and feeling the pain, and said, Darren, you had one job, and the crane goes down. So it was really good to be able to blame someone instead of Bruce and I having to take the. Now, we also laughed that it took 2 of us to replace and fill Sam's shoes. Now, it's only taken 1 person to fill Bruce and I's position, so we haven't figured out what
What's
if we
going on
have a
there?
legacy there. So that tells you how good Darren is. But
Yeah.
and it's passion, because as he
Right.
said coming into my office, I didn't realize this is kind of year-round in this position. I said, yes, sir, it
Yeah.
is.
So when does it start then? After the tournament's over, when does it start?
Yeah, we decompress for that month, pay all our bills, count our dollars, give our donation or split revenues with the NJCAA, and then organization starts. And usually we're working on banquet speakers because that's the
Right.
new world of trying to get celebrities or whatever. Everybody has an agent. When it used to be, Sam just called his buddy Tommy Lasorda and said, hey, you owe me and I owe you and whatever, quid pro quo. But then we have to pay our $300,000 by December to the city for the bond repayment. And then we have a winter meeting in usually November, kind of go over, decompress what happened, and then what plans for the future are. So it really, it's like August after the tournament that we get planning for the next year.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought.
Yeah,
I thought it was pretty much, there's not a whole lot of downtime.
Yeah,
And
but it's fun. It keeps us all young. I mean, baseball is a great way to connect.
it really is.
Yeah.
It really is. It's neat to see. I've got 2 young boys.
Nice.
And they're not quite into JUCO like I was at their age. There's so many variables in kids' lives today.
I have the 3 granddaughters I was telling you about, and the distractions, I call them, and then you can try to sit down and color a coloring book, and they're off seeing something, or YouTube's over here, or they hear music. I don't know how they do it.
I'm finding it difficult to pass that down to them. And maybe
Sure.
I'm assuming that you guys have kind of seen that in the numbers too.
Mm-hmm.
Although last year, and maybe it was because of COVID, but like Saturday was full.
Yeah, people wanted out. No,
Yeah.
they want to get out, and it was primarily COVID.
Yeah.
But, and that's one of the things we're already noticing. Why we have good participation for the Challenger, because that's just a special day and a special organization. The clinic, we got a lot of requests. People want to get back out on the Supplesio field and be able to see college guys and get free gifts from the Major League Baseball and do that stuff. But we've seen that the banquet's taken a little bit of a step back because of we haven't had mass events. Where
Right.
you put everybody, 800 people in a room,
Yeah.
and there's only one place to do that down at the convention center,
Yeah.
primarily because they have enough plates and forks and knives to be able to handle something like that.
Right.
But we've seen that everybody's got so many different things,
Mm-hmm.
just like your child, our children do, that it's kind of, we want to keep the tradition, because this year we have 8 people going to the Hall of Fame because we haven't had banquets the last
Oh,
2
sure.
years.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
so it's, we want to make sure the coaches and NJCA and JUCO have created such a legacy of, not only do you want to get your team here to play in a tournament, but if you're 30 years of coaching and get into the Hall of Fame, Grand Junction's your destination. So,
Yeah.
and so we want to make sure we appreciate tradition. That's probably on me. Legacy and tradition are what we want to do. So these young people, finally, it connects one
Right.
day.
Yeah.
What this is
That's
all about.
exactly what it is. Just giving them that unity and that community feel that they want to come back to. What are some things that you guys have tried to talk about as far as trying to get those younger generations involved and wanting to come to JUCO?
Yeah, well, one of the things that's really nice, we have a sponsor, Hilltop, that purchases tickets and goes into every school in District 51. And it's a free ticket for either Saturday morning's first game or Sunday morning's first game. Now, the rest of the deal is you've got to have to bring mom and dad, so mom and dad should have to buy a ticket.
Hey, that's
This
marketing.
Yeah, that's marketing. That's what they tell me.
Yeah.
But it's trying to get there so they have fun. This year, we've done it with Dick's Sporting Goods just being into town. We've set up a sponsorship. They're going to have a fan zone in the area behind with the new construction areas. Safer, well lit,
Yeah.
beautiful, but we're going to have the kind of the bump and jump type stuff, but
Oh, yeah.
speed of pitch, so your
Perfect.
your
Yeah.
children can throw and see how fast they're throwing, and then a small batting cage, those type of things, and then with some giveaways, some prizes, just to get them to feel cool. And then when
Absolutely.
they see a player wearing his Florida T-shirt or something, then they can ask for autographs and still
Yep.
mingle with that. So that's trying to get that back into there, and that's something
really
we really just never had the space. Years before, we tried to do it on the football field, but kind of people that didn't connect to walk over there for that. So I think this is really going to be exciting, and want to thank Dick's Sporting Goods for that.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I think your children will love it.
Those are the types of things that
Yeah,
you, that
that's
you do.
the new deal.
Yeah. I remember, and I talked to Jim Davis about this a little bit when he came on. And actually, I just posted his podcast this week. I wanted to go his podcast and then right into your podcast.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So we talk about the tournament and stuff.
Yeah.
But, back in the day, it was just a bunch of bleacher rats underneath.
Yeah, don't get me started. I brought you that book of our 60-year
Yeah.
anniversary. We tongue in cheek talk about the second book we write on all those things that you can't publish. and under the bleachers is probably a few of those. But
Yeah.
no, anyway, but and like we have a video that is online right now. That KREX has been there since day one, and then they had the major fire at KREX and lost all their videotape
Right.
back in the day. They found one from 1969 that we're showing now, and it shows the big trees out in left field, because remember that was dirt and wooden bleachers.
Yes.
And this was 1969, and there's hardly anybody in the stands. It looked like it was an early game in the wooden bleachers. And then you see down the right field line, evergreen trees were almost in the field of play by that area there that we have the new stands. That was, you could run across the pitching mound and bullpen and run right into a clove of evergreen trees. I mean, so we have elevated it a little bit, but again, it just talks about what people of the community. JUCO is a great acronym for of fun.
Yeah, it is, and I like the way you said it kicks off the summer.
Yes,
and that's really cool too.
Well, and you mentioned it before, but I get a number of people that they take their vacations during that weekend, and at least the Monday and Tuesday, and then they can go to the game on Friday, Saturday if there's a championship game. But that's what they do. They tell their bosses and their associates that, hey, I'm out taking the kids, and now with school out, sometimes we run in with school still in session because of just how Memorial Day works, but now everybody's out, so I know we've got some people coming in for the Tuesday game that are going swimming and then coming over to the game to watch that and go back, and I say people like 300 kids in summer camps that are coming over, and it's
cool to see them all wearing the same color shirt, and there's just they were filing in. And
they're loving it, and again, that's a losers bracket game if you're a real baseball person.
Right.
But it's a loser's bracket that probably never played in front of anybody. And you get 3,000 to 4,000 people at a 11 o'clock game on Tuesday morning, and most of them screaming kids.
Yeah.
It just elevates you. It gives you the adrenaline shot you need.
Gosh, it's so fun.
Oh, good. Well, you're a great ambassador. Tell everybody.
Yeah, that's kind of what I want to do with this podcast. Just more awareness and things like that. So let's talk about this, and I don't know if you want to talk about this or not, but so the crane falls down, right? And then you guys are kind of having to deal with some major scheduling issues, and kind of the biggest thing with scheduling was getting the parts, and getting all the supplies.
Supply chain. I read about supply chain during COVID. I saw it in just the insurance and banking industry that I'm involved with. Saw those, but never was impacted by it. And so that next morning, when talking with Bruce and Darren and the good people at Shaw, it's like, oh my goodness, that's not just Band-Aid this thing and go do it. We'll need another 10 days to even find out if we can get enough aluminum bleachers in there to take care of it and make sure the girders are strong enough and those type of things. So then Darren, why don't you call the NJCA and let them know about this, that we see if we can maybe utilize CMU and Canyon View. And
so you guys are really preparing.
It was kind of what you do with crisis management on those things, and taking up time to make sure, and then got the collaborators involved, and everybody stepped up and said, "We get it. We think we can get this extra aluminum." They did purchase extra, just for those unforeseen things, but to make sure safety more than anything else. Which goes back to the point when I did get the text about the crane. Thankfully, nobody was injured because there were tons of people working on that. Because not only were you doing the football side, you were doing the baseball side, and split crews and people are just running around like ants. And so that was very, very thankful for that.
Yeah. It looks great.
Yes, it's neat. It's a different visual, and people already ask, are you painting them green? No, the new treatment on this aluminum does not glare. We've been out on the field just to take that as an ex-infielder. We've had complaints over the years, God, I can't see or whatever, and but it was a safety reason because a lot of that steel was rusting. I mean, that was close to 30 years ago that we put that in there. And
well, you had just said too that the tower's been around for 10 years already.
Yes,
I was
isn't that crazy?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's a phenomenal thing about, and that really put us on the map as well, just as far as allowing the city to utilize it. This is what's also neat, that hospitality suite that they call it up there, that's been utilized for wedding receptions, birthday parties, great views on both sides, alumni for CMU, alumni for the high schools, to utilize that facility, and then has actually helped them get broadcast games for CMU, and just taking a look at the Mesa and the monument. People are just awestruck by it. We take it for granted sometimes, but when you get a chance to get up there, if not, come see me and I'll take you up there to see it. But it's spectacular just to
It
see the
is. I've
views.
been up there. It's super cool, and it's a great view. It's cool to be up there, and it's kind of like a nice icon um, in the valley. It just you've got Alpine Bank that is big and kind of iconic, and then and now with the tower right kind of in the position that it is with the fields and stuff, it makes it, oh, what's the right word? For the teams coming in and experiencing them walking into the field, it kind of gives them a little more perceived value. That's what I was looking for.
Well, it elevates the experience for them. This is a stadium because I will tell you, and I've seen pictures and video, some of these teams are playing the way I just described Simplicio Field in 1969. That's their home ballpark wherever they are in a small town America. And so this is just elevates it elevates their game. It just, wow, we're part of a team right here. Let's get this done.
Yeah, it's super, super exciting. Is there anything that you want to tell anybody or that you want to say to anybody? And I was kind of hoping that I could get the podcast on your guys' Facebook page or social medias or anything like that.
By all means, you let us know. I'm not that smart on that, but we got good volunteers that know all the technical side of it, and we'll be able to share. We'd love to do that and get that out to those people, and the kids coming in on their iPhones can watch it on the way into town. That'd be kind of cool. So, just that we always worry about weather. Usually goes without once that first pitch is thrown, everything's calms down for the most part. Weather always throws a few hiccups, but we want to make sure to be cognizant. There's large crowds. Be aware with what's going on in the world. I mean, as a risk manager, which is my trade, those are some of the meetings we're having right now, is to make sure we're getting people through security safe and making sure they have great experiences. But just get out there, even if it's for 2 hours.
Right.
It's a bleacher seats are fairly inexpensive, and or buy a pass where you can go to all 19 games for less than $40. I mean, it's phenomenal.
When I was there a couple weeks ago, I was shooting some video for Jeremiah Hines with Audio Video Experts.
Oh, yes.
And I saw the new bleachers there, and it appears that you guys were thinking ahead as far as at some point you guys are going to extend the stadium seats out further.
That was the biggest thing, was the spacing. We looked at that years ago when we got the reserve seating in the tower. We looked at trying to do these portable seats in the bleachers, and they can be bolted on, their safety and everything. The problem is that space between the bleachers.
Yeah. There's not enough leg room.
There's not enough leg room.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, yes, that was to go into the future. We plan to move that out. And like I said, JUCO for the most part, no disrespect to some of the other baseball organizations, but JUCO for the most part fills that stadium. That championship game or a Bryce Harper playing in town.
Yeah, that was a big deal.
Yeah, or the fireworks night. So it's really, we want to make sure we still had bleacher seating just to say, okay, there's a seat, but you're going to have to go out there.
Yeah, squeeze in tight.
Not turn anybody away, and as opposed to having tickets that say, oh, sold out. Well, we've seen Rocky sold out, but only 15,000 people show up because the weather's bad or something like that. So we just wanted to put that old acronym or statement of put butts in the seats and make sure that creates some memories.
Yeah. One quick thing, and then we'll finish up.
Okay.
There's always murmurs about making the tournament bigger or even making the tournament smaller. What's the climate in that?
Well, again, leadership changes on both the coaching level, association, and then the NJCA level. They're going through a new leadership group at the NJCA and new leadership group in the coaches. They constantly ask, we want to play there, and because we don't like that if game. You've been here long enough to know that sometimes we have 3 teams with 1 loss.
Right.
And we flip to see who plays in the championship game. Flip a coin at the plate just because it doesn't work with 10 teams.
Right.
So you can go to 12, but that adds 2 more days, maybe 3.
Right.
And we're volunteers. We got life to do.
Yeah.
Or we could drop it back to 8 like they do in Omaha. Well, coaches don't want to drop it to 8.
Right.
They want to go to 12 because that gives 4 more teams, or at least 2 more, to come here.
Yeah.
NJCA is looking at economics and those type of things. So the biggest thing I think is probably closer on the horizon than anything else is allowing California representative to come
I heard
in.
Jim talking
Yes,
about that.
yeah. So that's probably as close as I've ever seen it. 25 years ago, we got the coaches from California come out here and see this event, and went back to the coach and said, "We got to be here." I mean, it's Northern California versus Southern California, the championship, but it's not like this.
Oh, it's not.
No,
I would have thought it would
no,
be.
it's not. There's just so many community colleges in the D1 area in California.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, coaches said yes. They took it back to their leadership on their California administration.
Mm-hmm.
They said, sure, have JUCO change the dates of their tournament to 1 week later, so not Memorial Day.
Yeah.
And we said that was a non-starter. So it ended up having 2 political organizations that said no. So, but now they're okay with that, from what we understand.
They are.
Yeah, now they're looking to
They
want to have a representative, and think of all the people that played. They're in the big leagues that played at junior colleges in California. So, I think it'd be cool. It does ask the question, okay, which region do they go into, and does that eliminate a chance for Salt Lake Community College to come here, like they're hosting their tournament this week?
I mean, wouldn't they be their own region then?
No, that's the question. If they are their own region, then you're going to have to add another team at some other region, or split Florida up.
Okay.
Because it'll make 9 teams, or 9 regions, instead of just the 8 there.
Okay.
Or excuse me, the 10 that are there. So
Okay.
make 11. Sorry, my math. I'm not good at that.
It is interesting because once you open that door just a little bit and kind of allow that variable for them to come in and play, but as a consumer, I'm like, heck yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, we get it. We understand it. It's fun. It's just there are some logistic things. And one of the things that changed when the GJ Rockies came in, they technically, the way the contract reads right now, they get the stadium passed over them the day after JUCO's done. So they can start doing their signage. They can start getting their things done. So if we delay it another 3 days, does that impact their schedule? Because the last couple of years they've had to open up the season on the road, and not just because of the timing of some things. And they work well with us. Mick Ritter, the GM over there, does great.
Sure.
The ownership group there, because they all know it's about baseball, and it helps all of us. So.
Well, it just carries on that momentum. JUCO is kind of that, get that baseball fever going, and then it just kind of moves right into Rockies. And as a local, I just like seeing the stadium being used instead of it just kind of being dormant all summer long.
That's it. Exactly.
So that's really cool.
That's why we put it out there.
I haven't made too many Rockies games, but I just like the fact that it happens. I like seeing the stadium full during a Rockies game. Or I know that they're not necessarily full, but I just like seeing it being used. I know that we're kind of short on time now, so I just wanted to say thank you so much for your time. This is kind of I don't know, it's an honor to have you sitting here and us chatting like this.
I'm humbled by that. And the whole committee is. That's why we do it.
Yeah.
It makes a great deal, and this is just another avenue to help educate on the tradition, so we can take that forward for your boys and whoever else they speak to about.
And what I'd like to do is maybe make this an annual thing where you come in and we can talk. I know that we're short on time, but maybe in the near future, or maybe like right after the tournament.
Today just didn't work out as well.
Yeah, that's fine. I just know that you have a lot of stories, and I want to dive into those stories.
Oh, I'd love to tell you some of those. Yeah.
There's just so many years of baseball and JUCO.
I'd love to do that too, because the memories that's what we try to do in the book, but there's still some other stories that are just kind of what keeps us all laughing. And when we're at the park at 5 o'clock in the morning, and late game goes late, and it's 12:30 when we get back home, and we do it again the next day. It's fun. It keeps us all giggling.
That's really cool. I'm going to grab that book real quick so everybody can kind of see it.
Thanks.
All right, so This is the book right here. I want everybody to see that.
Got it wrapped up. Sorry about that.
That's okay. It just means it's nice, fresh, and new, you know. JUCO's Journey. First of all, thank you so
You're
much
welcome.
for this gift.
You bet.
This is really nice of you. And I'm looking forward to diving into this book. And,
You'll love it. And then it'll create some more questions for you, so it'll be good.
my sister-in-law is going to be really jealous that I got
Tell her
this
to give
from
me a
you.
call. I'm sure I can find another one.
Awesome. Jamie, thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
I'm really looking
Pleasure to
forward to the
meet you.
tournament weekend, as always.
Good.
Yeah.
That's what we do. That's what
and
we like to hear.
I'll tell you this. Our whole section, our section is Section F. It is a family. We see everybody every year. There's a group that's just to our right that comes from California. And, well, he's up there in age, so I'm not sure if they're going to make the journey or not. But it's just really neat to see all those friends again and just kind of having that family reunion. So thanks for coming on,
Thank
man.
you.
I really, really appreciate it.
It was
So,
fun. I
yeah.
enjoy that too. I'm sorry it's short on time, but let's
That's
do
okay.
it again.
Yeah, we'll
I'd
do it
love
again.
to.
All right.
Great.
Thanks, Jamie.
Thank you.